Hello friends, this is Tanya for Spellbinders, and today I am doing 3 cards with Chill Bear, plus a lot of other goodies from the Be Merry and 'Tis the Season collections. I've taken the Chill Bear die set and I've cut out 2 or 3, I think it's 3 different bears here, and I wanted a black bear to be one of them. That's what we have where I live. And I wanted to make a not necessarily Christmas card as one of the cards that I'm making today. I'm using my little pickup stick here to pick up the different pieces to fill in those little spots like the ear, the eyeball, and the cheek. I don't necessarily like those to be a super bright pink on this one. They're both going to be this brown color. And the cheek is going to be black. I'm just going to adhere in the cheek right in that spot. Now I've also taken this brown, and you can see that there are 2 different little tiny pieces here. One that has a notch for the nose and one that doesn't. Actually, these are almost exactly the same shape. I'm going to use one of them as the tail. So I'm just going to line that up with the little bum of the bear and adhere that black tail. There is a second front leg that fits behind the bear that you can position. I try to make sure that he doesn't have an extra long leg or a gimpy short leg. And now we're going to add that cheek. And for the eye for this bear, we're going to do something a little unusual. I did have a little trouble with that cheek. I do get a little bit of extra glue where I don't want it after I'm done with all this fiddling, but that's okay. It dries matte, so that helps. There are a lot of details cut right into this bear for his fur. I really like that. We're going to take the tiniest gem from the Gold Mix Color Essentials jewels here, or gems, and we're going to put that right in the eye hole. Now for a polar bear, here I've got 2 different versions. I'm going to color the nose with this W8 marker, and I'm going to color the cheek on the muzzle on this one with a W1 marker, just so it's a little bit of warm gray there. And we're going to adhere this muzzle right onto the bear. I like it to be pretty subtle. And as you can see, I have the other pieces are still inside the bear die cut. I'm going to take this pink marker and add a little pink to the inside of the ear and to the cheek. I'm also going to come back with the W1 marker to tone that down a little bit because I don't want it to be so bright a pink. I'm also using that same W8 marker to add color to the eye, and we'll add a little white tail on the rump of our bear. I'm also going to take that leg. Am I doing the leg next? Yes, I'm going to add his little front leg. I do kind of use the grid lines on my mat here to help make sure I have that leg on even. And this is the scarf. It took me a little bit the first time I put the scarf on to figure out which way it goes, but the dangly bits are going to hang right underneath his neck. So we've got a polar bear and a black bear, and they're both adorable. For the next bear, I'm going to use some opal Glimmer hot foil and some of these dies Glimmer hot foil plates from the Christmas sweater borders. I'm going to take all 3 of these plates and line them up on this piece of paper, which is, it looks like it's a 2.5 or 3 inch wide piece. Must be 2.5 inches. And I'm going to just lay those all on top. I'm not going to be super concerned about how lined up they are, and I'll adhere them together with, or tack them together with the best ever tape. Is it tacky tape? I think it's just best ever tape. No, best ever craft tape. And since my piece is smaller than the dies, I'm going to take the opal Glimmer foil and lay that good side down, which is hard to tell with this particular foil. You just have to be careful when you're taking it off the roll to make sure you know which way it's oriented. And then I put the paper on top of that and tape it all together and run it through the Glimmer hot foil system. And what am I doing with this, you ask? I am making a Nordic foiled polar bear. So now we're going to take this foiled piece of cardstock with this sweater pattern foiled into it with this tone-on-tone foil, and we're going to die cut the bear pieces out with that. And it actually fits through my little sidekick. So if you have a small die cutting machine, a lot of these die sets will work with the small die cutting machines. I'm very carefully removing all of the pieces from this die, and I am going to have to make sure I don't lose that ear. I am again going to use the W9 and the W1, so I've colored the muzzle and his nose and the eye, and I am amazed that I didn't get that marker everywhere. This time I decided to use the W1 for the cheek without the pink. We're going to adhere that muzzle right there very carefully. That pickup stick really helps. Any embellishment wand is going to be your friend when it comes to these little tiny pieces. If you don't own one, there are lots on the market. Many companies carry them. I'll have some linked in the description box below. Now we're going to take a piece of washi tape, and I am going to actually use a scissor to cut this, even though you can tear it, just because I want a specific size. Now I've covered the areas that have the pieces that could pop right out, the eye and the cheek, and we'll go back and put the inner ear back in, and I think I did lose it, so I'm going to have to die cut it again. I'm just going to tack that little bear over the paper just so I get my inner ear out of this paper. So I'm going to carefully pop that right into the hole. So I'm just going to line up the die over the same spot, use my pokey tool to push that out of the die, and get that positioned very carefully and push that in. I did use my thumbnail to give it a little extra push right over that hole. I did add a little color with the W1, so there's a little contrast. And we're going to make a 5x7 card. So I pull out one of my favorite 5x7 card building sets, the Deco Bloom. I have this one and the Wistful Windows, which I use pretty darn regularly. They are amazing. I love all of the detailed layers they have. Now I am going to do a blended sky background. I've got Salvage Patina, Mermaid Lagoon, and Faded Jeans, which I believe all of these are available in the Spellbinders shop right now too. They create a beautiful, not necessarily night sky, but it could be a night sky. I really love the color combination that this created. Just randomly applying the color in different areas, and then I go a little crazy with the Faded Jeans. Didn't realize how much ink I got on my blender, so I'm going to come back and add more of the other colors to bring those out so they aren't lost under the Faded Jeans. And it's pretty forgiving. This isn't it looks kind of dark and splotchy right now, but I'm going to do some water spatters. That's going to add more of that snowy feel, and spatters are always fun. You can see those popping through right away. They did a great job of adding a snowy feel. We're going to add some Perfect Pearl water here. This is just Perfect Pearls in the Perfect Pearl color in a spray bottle of water, and it creates a shimmer mist all your own, and you can add as much shimmer as you want. Now I'm taking the liquid pixie dust and I am adding it to this little palette here, adding just a smidgen of water to thin it out a bit. And now I'm going to spatter that all over this panel also, because we want some of that shiny, extra shiny blobs for some snow also. I thought about adding some white spatter, but I thought that was enough. So we're going to take the color block scene die and create some snow slopes, and I've done it in heavyweight white cardstock, say that 3 times fast, and some shimmery white cardstock and some glitter cardstock in a white or a clear color. Now we've got 3 different slopes that we're going to combine to help build this scene. And I've also taken one of the smaller, just straight edged dies from the Deco blooms and cut out the snowy background. And I'm lining these up the way I like them. I did get a little extra tape on, well, I've used that piece of tape several times, and it probably picked up a little dirt along the way. And so I had to get rid of that with my eraser. That eraser erases, I don't think I used it for pencil in a long, long time. Yeah. So I'm showing you what I did do, but I'm going to tell you, don't do this. Once you run it through the die cut machine, it impresses way too much texture into your white cardstock. So I ended up having to re-die cut a white piece. So I would say die cut your different pieces individually once you figure out where you want them. I'm going to adhere these with the Barely Art Precision Glue, and I have said it before, I'll say it again. Barely Art's Precision Glue is amazing. It is just about the only adhesive I use anymore. Just going to trim that little corner there and put a heavy block on top. Oh, I must have decided it was sticking good enough as it was. So I'm going to adhere that to the panel that I've die cut with the snowy background. I thought I needed to put that a little lower, but it's already stuck pretty darn good. Which one do I have on the background? Oh yeah, the shimmery white. That stuff loves glue. You do not have to wait very long at all for that to set. And it's still going to stick. I didn't have to reapply adhesive. So I have this outer Deco Blooms layer. So it's the outermost layer, which is almost 5 by 7. It's just a hair less than 5 by 7. And the detailed die on the inside. I've die cut that from some shimmery white cardstock. I did find some shimmery white cardstock for a very affordable price on Amazon. I found it in navy blue, gold, silver, and shimmery white. And I, of course, bought all of them. I think it was 100 pieces of cardstock weight shimmeriness for around $20 each. So it's pretty inexpensive. And I'll have those linked in the description box too. I also used the Mini Christmas Sentiment, I believe it's called, Glimmer Hot Foil Kit. It has a coordinating die, and I haven't counted, but it must be close to 20 sentiments. There are a ton. Love them. I also die cut a bunch of snowflakes from the glitter cardstock using the snowflake dies that come with the Chill Bear. And I'm going to add those as little finishing touches on the card front. Just a little dab of precision glue, Barely Arts Precision Glue. And then I'm going to take some of the Clear Mix gems and add those to the centers of the snowflakes. Just using my pokey tool. Turns out I should have let the glitter cardstock dry a little longer. They kept wanting to move when I was trying to put the little gems on. So I gave them an extra little push and then adhered my little gems, and that prevented them from sliding around. I really like how these this card is turning out. I could have done without the extra layers of dimension. So since there are so many layers of cardstock on this card, but you live and you learn. What am I going to add to the inside of this? I am going to pull out the, what is it called? I think it's a Build a Christmas Sentiment is what it's called. It die cuts all of these words and you can mix and match them. And I had die cut all of them just to try it out, just to play with it. And took all of those words and washi taped them to a piece of cardstock until I could use them. I chose Warm Holiday Wishes. Actually, the die cuts holidays, but I just trimmed off the S, and the holidays word is 3 different pieces. Just going to carefully adhere these to the inside of this card. This is a 5x7 card. I think I mentioned that before. I'm repeating myself. That's okay. I used the, what is it called? The gold foil cardstock that comes in all of the card kits from Spellbinders. I do have quite a stash of it because I was hoarding it. I don't need to hoard it, but I have been hoarding it and I'm going to use it. But you can now buy individual packs, which is why I'm probably not going to hoard it anymore, because I know I will be able to get more if I want it, if I use it all up. If I use it all up, that'll be pretty amazing. But it is beautiful. I have mentioned before that it is extra flexible and it doesn't get all kinds of creases in it if you bend it, which is so amazing. So we've got Warm Holiday Wishes, and again, it does take just a little extra time for those to dry, so try not to be bumping them while they're trying to dry. And we're going to take these snowflakes. I think this is the last of the snowflakes. Yeah. Now that makes a beautiful inside of a card. I use the All is Calm and All is Bright sentiment. Now I'm taking the stump from the Dancin Gnome stamp die set, which is currently sold out on the Spellbinders shop. But they will get it back in stock. And you can check some other places for it also. And I'll have more than one place to find it linked in the description box below. It does have an adorable tree also, Christmas tree, with some snow edging, or I suppose you could put another color of green along the bottoms, or whatever colors you wanted, honestly. I'm amazed at how easily these are put together. Spellbinders does a fantastic job with their builder dies. These little snow rims on the tree all cut out at once, so you don't even have to mess with a bunch of little tiny dies. So much thought and so much precision. Love it. So each of these layers of the tree are assembled, and now I'm just going to adhere them together. And since they are 3 separate pieces, you could make this a really short squatty tree, or you can make it a tall one. You can add extra layers. There's all kinds of ways you can use this. You could even alternate the different sizes and make it a really, really wonky tree. I am showing you the gnome that comes in this set. I do not use him in this video. I do have a video coming up with a couple of gnome cards, so stay tuned. I am taking this pattern paper and I am going to die cut with the same inner die that I did for the last card and the same frame as I did for the last card. But we're using totally different colors. This is some craft colored cardstock, and we are going to use a 5x7 white card base, and we're going to adhere this directly to the card base. I did learn my lesson. I do not need all of the extra layers of dimension on this particular card because there are lots of layers on this card also. So I'm going to adhere that directly to the card base, and I'm going for a more masculine, not necessarily Christmas card look here. We've got that plaid adhered to the center of the card panel. And then I'm going to adhere the trees and a sentiment, another sentiment from that mini Christmas Sentiments Glimmer hot foil set. And there is, it's not really white space, but there's a lot of white space that's left open on this card, and I'm okay with that. I am using the pattern of the plaid to help me line up the sentiment that is behind the bear, so that's going to get adhered to the card first. And I did add a little bit of coaster blank towards the top of each of these trees because I want them to stand off the card just a little bit. And the bear has a layer of coaster blank behind it also, and we'll adhere that directly over the trees and part of the sentiment. I love the way that brown bear looks, or excuse me, black bear looks on the front of this card. I can think of one person at work who is going to go bananas for all of these cards. She loves bears so much that she will do anything to go see a bear. I am adding this stump to the inside of the card, and I had taken a scrap of the plaid paper and put it on the inside of the card. I don't add anything else to the inside of this card. For the last card, I was definitely going with the Coca-Cola polar bear look. That's what inspired this for me. I took this, this is a stencil, I think from an old Hero Arts kit, like from 2018 or 2019. It's old, but it's a great stencil, and it really looks like a snowy sky to me. So I tried with the festive berries, and that didn't really show up all that well on this red cardstock. And then I decided Fired Brick would be worth a try. Both of these are available in the Spellbinders shop. And I am wiping away the extra ink off of this stencil because I'm going to come back and use some shimmery, I wouldn't say it's white, but a shimmery Versamark-like ink. There is a Versamark Sparkle ink that is probably identical to this. This is a retired, I think it's called Illumination stamp pad, but Versamark has exactly the same thing, a sparkle one. And I offset that just a little bit. So we've got a little bit of darkness underneath that. It's like a shadow. I'm also going to add some stenciling to the inside of the card using that same combination, offsetting, and instead of rubbing with this one, I'm just going to dab that ink through the stencil. Then I'll set that aside to dry a little more. We're going to clean this stencil up quick, and my preferred way to clean these now is with some water and a little bit of just soap, just a little bit put right into that big spray bottle. I graduated from the little ones. I kept having to refill them way too often. Now I'm going to adhere this directly to the card base. This is another slimline card. This is a 3 by 6 inch card. I'm also going to pull out the July Glimmer of the Month die set again. This is a mini slimline dotted, nested dots, I think is what it's called. Yeah. And I'm going to use the polished brass Glimmer hot foil to add these dots to the panel. And I'm just being super careful since I want this to not have to be trimmed down. It is exactly the size I want it, so I don't want to have to adjust it because my foiling plate wiggled. I'm going to take one more piece of tape and wrap that around to the back to make sure that goes exactly where I want it. And my platform is heated up. I'll put the shims on, put it back on the Glimmer hot foil platform or heating station, and finish heating that up. Now I'm taking these leftover pieces from my first card of the shimmery white, the glitter, and the heavyweight white cardstock, and I'm lining these up as you can see on my grid mat. I need this to be almost 3 inches wide. So I'm going to take my tape and tack that down, and then I take it to my guillotine trimmer and trim off the excess so I have the size that I need. I believe it's 2 3/4 by 2 3/4 inches wide. Now I'm going to adhere these layers to themselves or to each other, and I will bring that back to my card panel when I've got that all glimmered. This is I am doing this while the platform finishes heating up, and then I will go ahead and glimmer that. Here is the result of the glimmering, and it did glimmer perfectly. So that extra piece of tape, that extra vigilance paid off in the end. I could have left it just like this, but I decided I wanted one more layer of snow slopes. So I'm going to take some more of the glitter paper and put one more layer of that on the top. And I am going to have to adjust where this goes because I put that grouping too high. I think I have to adjust it one more time, and then we'll get that all adhered to the front. And that will give me a spot for the sentiment, which is again from that mini Christmas Sentiments Glimmer Hot Foil set. Now I'm just going to trim off the edges. I think I have to trim a little off the bottom because I was a little wonky. And then we'll just adhere that directly onto the 3x6 mini slimline card base. Just going to quickly eyeball that. I am glad I am still pretty good at eyeballing. I wonder if that's going to change as I get older. Just going to adhere the little polar bear right directly to the card base. His feet are a little bit off of that one layer, but I bet I'm the only one that notices it. I chose the Baby It's Cold Outside sentiment, which is hot foiled with the polished brass foil. And that is the last of my cards. Did you enjoy this video? Which of these bears is your favorite? I really like all of them. Really. I love that foiling on the polar bear with the Nordic sweater look. I love the warm flannel fall feel of the black bear card and the nostalgic feel of the Coca-Cola red scarf white polar bear. Please please take a moment to leave me a comment. Let me know which of these cards you like the best. If you're interested in any of the product I use, check the description box below. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed to this channel, take a moment and do that now. I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.